enemies into space dust. The combat scheme has been lifted right out of Star Fox 64 and features the same type of on-rail shooting where you move along a preset flight path. As you button mash your way to victory, you can also upgrade weapons and pull off some nifty moves to avoid hostile attacks. Where this game really shines is in the multiplayer mode. Playing the single story mode allows you to unlock some content, but the really good stuff can only be released by gathering your mates and attacking the multiplayer levels. Several game types are available, but take our advice and stick to the aerial missions.
Whew, there's no end to these things.
The action stumbles a bit once you hit the ground. Controlling Fox from a third-person perspective is much harder than it should be. Simple movements like aiming and firing are frustrating. Fortunately, though, the pluses far outweigh the minuses. Graphically, Assault looks great, and although the story mode is short, the multiplayer options more than make up for it. Fans of the series should enjoy this updated blast from the past. We here at Cybernet feel if you're willing to enter the ring to challenge some legendary boxers, you shouldn't be limited to mixing it up in a gym. So grab a pen and write down this cheat for Fight Night Round 2 on the Xbox.
When you're not throwing, it helps if you can make the other guy miss. Nice work by Right.
Navigate your way to the game selection screen and then simply press and hold left on the D-pad until you hear a bell.
Girl, move it like, girl, move it like, girl, move it like.
We've just unlocked every venue that this title has to offer, so feel free to set your bouts in some of boxing's most famous locations, like Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas. And remember to keep that jab up and tune in for more cheats. It's time to kick up some dirt and catch some air with MX vs. ATV Unleashed on the Xbox and PlayStation 2.
It's good as I thought, or it's bad as you want. The line has been drawn. What side do you want? Try to do it right.
In this off-road extravaganza, you drive ATV four-wheelers and motocross dirt bikes in a series of fast-paced racing competitions. What's great is that the game is jam-packed with a huge assortment of vehicles, including dune buggies, monster trucks, biplanes, and even golf carts. Winning races is based on your ability to navigate the course. Becoming familiar with each jump and hairpin turn is the key to success. The massive stadium-based motocross courses are merely average, but the outdoor tracks feature outstanding designs and tough challenges. Beachside courses, snow-covered mountain trails, desert roadways, and tree-lined forest tracks are just a few of the intriguing landscapes included. Because each course is so fast-paced, using your clutch control is crucial. By engaging or disengaging the clutch, you can gain a sudden burst of speed for tight corners or pop the clutch at the start of the race to get off the line ahead of your opponents. Also, successfully executing wild tricks gains you points that can be used to purchase gear and new bikes, as well as unlock pro riders and courses. Along with the standard racing scenarios, there are a few different modes of gameplay to keep things lively. There's an uphill race challenge, where you must shoot to the top in a test of speed, or you can hone your flying abilities in a plane. Plus, you can take on a friend in the multiplayer setting. And if you think you're tough enough, you can compete online with up to 6 players. The graphics do a solid job of presenting the off-road experience. Although the courses don't kick up as much dirt as we'd like, they're appropriately dark and realistically textured. The only glaring drawback is the poor controls in the flying portions. However, even with these flaws, MX vs. ATV Unleashed has enough variety and thrilling action to keep you speeding ahead. It's time to take a look at some very special preview footage from the upcoming samurai western for the PlayStation 2. In this action title, you'll assume the role of a samurai named Gojiro, who'll travel back to the American Wild West of the late 1800s in pursuit of his brother. Throughout each level, you'll encounter massive amounts of gunslinging enemies while dodging and slicing your way past a hail of bullets. To triumph, you'll be able to select your attack stance so that you can wield your sword in front of you or pick a low stance and slash over your head. Along the way, you'll also be able to upgrade your arsenal by collecting coins, which can be used to improve your combat. The focus here will be cutting down bad guys as quickly as possible. You'll do battle in saloons, desolate ghost towns, the desert, and an abandoned mine shaft. And to keep things interesting, you'll come face to face with some pretty tough bosses. Make sure to stay tuned to Cybernet to find out if Samurai Western can truly bring the East to the West. Okay, get ready for Cybernet's Top 10 Xbox games chart. At number 10, take on a slew of international opponents as you rule the pitch with Pro Evolution Soccer 4. Your Star Wars adventures continue in Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords Manipulating the Force at 9. At number 8, if you've got a dirty job and no one else can do it, grab your wallet and give the Mercenaries a call. Step into the ring and take on some of the most legendary boxers ever in Fight Night Round 2 at number 7. At number 6, with guns blazing, Frank Castle gives the criminal underworld a taste of their own medicine in The Punisher. With plenty of skill and lots of bravery, the Delta Squad of Star Wars Republic Commando get the job done at 5. In the 4th position, there's no dress code, no sidelines, and no ref, which means that in FIFA Street, anything goes. Join the valiant heroes of the greatest generation as they fight for survival in Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30 at 3. At 2, Bad Guys Beware. There's a new bounty hunter in town, so you'd better watch your step in Oddworld's Stranger's Wrath. But no one can top the time-traveling action of Time Splitter's Future Perfect checking in as our Xbox number 1. In the year 2030, cybercrime, espionage, and terrorism are commonplace, and the line separating humanity and technology has all but disappeared. Thankfully, you have a chance to set things straight in Ghost in the Shell standalone complex for the PlayStation 2. The game is based on the popular animated series of the same name and is essentially a third-person action shooter. Your mission is to hunt down the enemies of humanity to ensure peace and prosperity. Most of the time, you'll control Major Motoko Kusanagi. She's Section 9's secret weapon, a cyborg who's blessed with extraordinary powers. Perhaps the game's most unique aspect is the gritty cyberpunk world on display. The Matrix-like environments are richly detailed and filled with interactive elements. Cool sci-fi themes are prevalent in all the landscapes, and the firefights and explosions are graphically impressive. You'll have access to a pretty decent weapon selection, including machine guns and grenade launchers. However, it's the death-defying acrobatic moves that are the real standout. You can backflip, spin, and somersault to avoid danger. Then when you get close enough to an opponent, you can unleash a melee attack that's displayed in super slow-mo. At times, you also have to jack into computer terminals to access data and intel. This doesn't add too much to the challenge, though, which is too bad considering the puzzles aren't too tricky and most of the game is very linear. Plus, sadly, the controls and camera are kind of flimsy and character movements lack polish. While Standalone Complex is on the short side and somewhat limited, it's a pretty fun ride while it lasts. The futuristic imagery and consistent mix of action make this a decent addition to the Ghost in the Shell series. Just because you're a member of a crime-fighting first family doesn't mean you don't need a helping hand once in a while. So let Cybernet come to the rescue with this cheat for The Incredibles on the PlayStation 2. Anytime you're surrounded by an overwhelming amount of bad guys, pause the game, select Secret Options, then type Smart Bomb. That's SMARTBOMB and B. Now you can destroy all nearby enemies and all destructible items close by. That's right, feel free to go rushing into a room full of bad guys because now dispensing them will be no problem. Talk about incredible. Coming up, we journey through time, become a samurai warlord, and parachute into the Second World War. Second half now with some bad news. An alien race has taken control of the planet and destroyed everything in sight. So it's up to you to travel through time and put things right in Time Splitter's Future Perfect for all consoles. As the third installment of the series, this title continues the first-person shooter format. You assume the role of Cortez, a general who's just returned from a mission to secure time crystals. With the military failing to stop aliens from destroying the universe, you are given the task of traveling throughout time to change past events in order to save the present day. Your first battles are fought in a futuristic landscape, but you soon hop through several different eras in time. From the early 1900s to the 21st century, you'll have to complete various objectives to ensure a safe future. In 1969, you'll confront a madman on a moving train, and in 1994, you'll infiltrate a zombie-infested mansion. All these levels include cooperation with a non-playable character to help spice up the action. There are a wide variety of weapons to discover on each level. Laser rifles, shotguns, rocket launchers, and a trusty sniper rifle all come in handy when facing enemies. And while some of the weapons are not all that exciting, the sheer number available more than makes up for it. The tricky part is determining which guns to carry in your arsenal, especially when encountering boss battles. This title truly shines in the multiplayer mode. There are a large variety of games to select from, such as Capture the Flag and Assault Challenges. In addition, there's a new online option where you're paired with a bizarre collection of bears, monkeys, zombies, deer, and other creatures. Also, there are over 150 multiplayer characters to unlock, so there's plenty of incentive to return. While the detailed environments and sound are first-rate, the single-player campaign is less than engaging. Compared to other more polished first-person shooters, this one is slightly flat. However, the inventive multiplayer modes, map creation, and online options make Time Splitter's Future Perfect something worth experiencing. As commander of the elite task force Talon, you must complete some very dangerous missions in active war direct action on the PC. And if you need some mega firepower to defeat the terrorists, try this cheat. In the secure line box, enter Yippee-Ki-Yay. That's Y-E-E-P-E-E-K-A-Y and E. Now when a situation seems lost, there's no need to throw more men at the problem or even waste expensive weapons. Not when you can just drop a big bomb from the sky and level your opponent in one go. Enjoy! Join us now for a trip back in time to Japan's tumultuous Sengoku period. Chaos is widespread and only one young nobleman can save the day. Will he emerge victorious or will the forces of darkness prevail? Let's find out in Kessen 3 for the PS2. In this action strategy title, you'll take on the role of Nobunaga Oda, the lord of the Oda family. His goal is clear: bring an end to the war and restore order. It's an epic story that unfolds through 2 hours of dramatic FMV sequences and in gameplay that's spread across 13 chapters and over 50 stages of battle. This is the first Kessen sequel in nearly 4 years, and happily the developers used that time to upgrade their series, starting with a new game engine. Not only does combat now take place in full 3D, the graphics have also been greatly improved. Additionally, the animations are fluid, while the character models and environments are first-rate. Like the previous 2 games, this one mixes strategic elements with sword-slashing combat. However, it also boasts several notable alterations. First off, you now have direct real-time control of troop movements, offensives, and defensive maneuvers. This really helps make you feel like you're part of the action. Secondly, the game features a non-linear stage selection, so you can pick battles when and where you want. At the outset of each mission, you make battle plans and assign units and officers to specific objectives. When you defeat opponents, you'll collect money, which enables you to upgrade your army with over 450 types of weapons, helmets, and samurai armor. Fortunately, the well-designed interface also makes controlling your army fairly simple.
Finish them!
Kessen 3 is a solid effort, however, the results are somewhat mixed, primarily because the cinematics are too long and the combat becomes monotonous. Still, in spite of some repetitive gameplay, this is a thrilling experience and the best Kessen release yet.
Celebrate! Victory is ours!
Our Game of the Week heralds the return of the popular Nintendo heroine Samus Aran. Her previous escapade was a major hit, so let's find out if she's still got it in Metroid Prime 2 Echoes rolling onto the GameCube. In this first-person sci-fi adventure, the super-skilled bounty hunter must travel to the planet Aether, which is being torn apart by 2 dimensions, the light and the dark. Your mission is to rescue the Federation troopers from a mysterious and deadly race called the Ing. But when an electrical storm forces you to crash, you're transformed from the hunter into the hunted. A large portion of this game deals with combat, so you'll battle a plethora of evil aliens in fierce and frantic fighting. Luckily, you can target lock onto your enemies while strafing. Sadly though, there's no dual analog control, which leads to some frustrating encounters. Fortunately, when the action gets too intense, you can always morph into a ball and roll away. This is not your average run-and-gun shooter, because you'll also spend a lot of time solving puzzles and scanning for clues with your scan visor. You can even search for equipment upgrades like the Dark Visor, which allows you to see your enemies more clearly. Unfortunately, just like the original, there's lots of tedious backtracking involved. If you become bored of the slow-paced exploration elements, you can always join your friends in some multiplayer mayhem. That's right, for the first time in this long-running series, up to 4 players can now compete in a deathmatch tournament. Although this tacked-on addition is nice, it's still subpar compared to superior titles such as Halo 2. From the stylistic heads-up display to the gorgeous level designs, the graphics are fantastic. And while it's not as groundbreaking as the previous edition, this highly anticipated sequel still succeeds. With the inclusion of many enhancements, Metroid Prime 2 is more than merely an echo of its predecessor. It's our Game of the Week. strap on that helmet, grab plenty of ammo, and make sure your bayonet is sharp, because you've been enlisted to help the greatest generation triumph once again in World War II. This time in the team-based shooter Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30, invading on your PC, Xbox, and PS2. Here you take command of Sergeant Matt Baker, a real-life member of the 101st Airborne Division. The game begins with your company parachuting into France behind enemy lines, the night before D-Day. In the campaign mode, 17 missions span a little over a week's time. What's interesting is that all the levels are based on the actual events that Baker's division confronted, adding a great deal of realism. Featuring a cast of over 20 characters, the cutscenes before each assignment help acquaint you with your squad and also remind you what's at stake in each undertaking. A revolutionary AI system is introduced that controls both the allies and enemies. This means intelligent teammates will assist you, and crafty counterparts will keep you on your toes. Depending on the mission, you'll command either an assault squad, which is better at charging the enemy, or a fire team that specializes in establishing a base of fire to suppress the oppositions. The game encourages you to follow Army protocol to find, flank, and eliminate your enemy, and assists you in this aim with a mode called Situational Awareness. This zoomed-out perspective of the battlefield allows you to make more informed decisions. Thankfully, the multiplayer aspects of Brothers in Arms retain all the great squad-based elements of the campaign mode. Matches can be set up for 2 to 4 players online on any of the 10 objective-based maps. The graphics and sound both add to the game's excellence, and the controls are sharp and responsive. Road to Hill 30 is a standout in a crowded field. Thanks for watching another victorious episode of Cybernet. We gotta run, but we promise to be back soon with even more fantastic game reviews. Don't forget to keep in touch via email. So until next time, here's more all-out action from Death by Degrees, compliments of Cybernet.
The latest news headlines are here on ITV1 after Loose Women.
Former step star Faye Tozer was offered £1 million to take her clothes off. We're trying to raise £1 million for Colleen to keep us on. But I reckon a tenner will do it. Good music and nothing else. Hello and welcome to Loose Women. It's Thursday, which means it's just one more day to the bank holiday weekend, and boy, do this lot look like they need a break. As always, we want to hear from you about any of the topics that we cover in today's show. You can email us at loose.women@itv.com. Now, on the show today, we have a woman who built herself a controversial reputation by rescuing children who'd been abducted and taken abroad by their fathers. She could surely never have imagined that her own husband would plot to do the same thing. She's here to tell us about what she describes as the worst time in her life. And stepping out after steps. What a tragedy. She was offered £1 million to pose in nothing but socks and a big smile, and she turned it down. Be very grateful we're not talking about Colleen Nolan, but former Step star Faye Tozer. So, deftly swatting the many bees in their many bonnets, it's me, Kay Adams. She has a body from Baywatch, but a face from Crime Watch. It's Terry Dwyer.
That was half a compliment.
And a woman who says sex is like air. It's not important unless you're not getting any. It's Lucy Jo Hudson. And finally, and I mean finally, a lady who's depriving some poor village of its idiot. It's Colleen Nolan. Now, I would like just to start on a personal note to thank everyone there for the many sort of emails and phone calls received complimenting me on my new hairstyle. It's a bit different, isn't it? Yes, I do like it, but it's a bit difficult to keep, you know, when you're outside and it's windy. Because that picture of me that was in the paper this morning, did you see it? Oh, it was dreadful. It does look like me, doesn't it?
That's quite scary, actually.
Yeah, okay, enough. We'll just pass over that. Thank you very much. There's another disturbing piece in the paper as far as I'm concerned. Apparently